Hi everyone, in today's video I'm super excited to share my experience flying premium economy with LOT Polish Airlines. I've been flying between LA and Warsaw regularly since 2015, and honestly I've tried pretty much every class and airline on this route since I moved to LA in 2017. I usually fly back home once or twice a year, so trust me when I say I know this flight really well. Having grown up in Warsaw, I've flown with LOT many times, and I want to tell you all about it. Being Polish, I've always had a soft spot for our national airline, but I promise to give you my completely honest thoughts about the experience. And no, this isn't sponsored. I paid for this flight myself, just like I always do. Let me start with the check-in process at LAX. After so many years of flying this route, I can tell you that getting that premium economy check-in counter makes a huge difference. Usually, the regular check-in lines at LAX can't be crazy long, especially during peak season, but with premium economy, you get to skip all of that. The staff were really friendly. They even spoke a bit of Polish when they saw my passport, which was a nice touch. For those of you flying from Warsaw Chopin Airport, you're in for an even better experience. Trust me, I know that airport like the back of my hand, and the fast-track security access you get with premium economy is such a time saver. I heard they have a business lounge there too that you can pay to access with premium economy, but I haven't tried it myself yet. Maybe in my next video I'll check it out and let you know if it's worth it. The boarding process was super smooth. Being in Group 1 means you get priority boarding, which at a busy airport like LAX is really valuable. I've spent enough time at both LAX and Chopin to know that this priority boarding can save you at least 20-30 minutes of standing in line. Now, let's talk about the seats. LOT uses the Dreamliner for this route, and I've gotta say, as someone who makes this 12-hour journey regularly, the premium economy seats are a game changer. They're about 50 centimeters wide. Trust me, after so many flights between LA and Warsaw, I really appreciate those extra centimeters of space. The legroom is also much better than regular economy, which makes a huge difference when you're trying to sleep during those overnight flights. Speaking of sleep, this is probably the most important part for anyone flying between California and Poland. The seats recline more than in regular economy, and you get this adjustable headrest and footrest. I've done this flight so many times in regular economy where I barely slept at all, but in premium economy, I actually managed to get some decent rest. The entertainment system was pretty good too. They had a nice mix of American movies and Polish films with English subtitles. It's actually a great way to practice some Polish if you're learning the language. I especially enjoyed watching some recent Polish movies that I'd missed since my last visit home. They also have USB ports and power outlets at every seat, which is super important for a long flight like this. Let me tell you about the food, because this is where you can really see the Polish hospitality shine through. When you first board, they offer you a welcome drink. I always go for tomato juice on flights. It's just become my flying tradition at this point. The meal service is way better than regular economy. They serve everything on real plates with proper cutlery, and the food quality is actually really good. On my flight, they had this beef dish that reminded me of a traditional Polish roast. Something I really appreciated about the Dreamliner is the windows. Instead of traditional window shades, they have these electronic dimming windows. Since I've been flying this route for so many years, I can tell you this really helps with jet lag, especially when you're dealing with the 9-hour time difference between LA and Warsaw. They give you this nice amenity kit too. It's not as fancy as what you get in business class, but it has all the essentials: a good eye mask, earplugs, toothbrush, and some decent face and hand creams. When you're on a 12-hour flight, these little things make a big difference. The baggage allowance is really generous. You get 2 checked bags up to 23 kilos each. As someone who regularly travels between these 2 cities, I can tell you this is super helpful. I always end up bringing things back and forth between my 2 homes, plus gifts for family and friends, so having that extra baggage allowance is really valuable. During the flight, the crew was fantastic. You know how sometimes the service can feel a bit impersonal on long-haul flights? Well, that wasn't the case here at all. The flight attendants would regularly check on everyone, and being able to chat with them in both Polish and English was really nice. They seem to really understand the needs of passengers on such a long flight. Let me tell you about the middle part of the flight too, because that's usually when things get boring. LOT actually handles this really well. They keep a snack bar set up in the galley where you can grab things whenever you want. This is super helpful when you're dealing with time zone changes and your body doesn't know when it should be hungry. The second meal service was also pretty good. They served it about 2 hours before landing, which is perfect timing when you're arriving in Warsaw in the morning. It was light but filling. Exactly what you need when your body clock is confused about whether it's time for breakfast or dinner. Let me tell you about something else that made this flight special: the timing. Flying from LA to Warsaw is tricky because of the huge time difference, and over the years, I've learned that choosing the right flight time makes a huge difference. LOT offers this overnight flight that leaves LA in the evening and arrives in Warsaw in the afternoon the next day. This schedule works really well because you can try to sleep during the flight and arrive in Warsaw ready to start your day. And I also want to mention something about traveling between LA and Warsaw that I've learned after doing this route so many times. The different seasons can really affect your flight experience. In winter, the flights tend to be less full, which sometimes means you might get lucky and have extra space. Summer flights are usually packed because that's when most people travel back to Poland for vacation. If you're flexible with your travel dates, I'd recommend avoiding the peak summer season and maybe trying spring or fall instead. One more thing, if you're planning to fly this route, remember that Warsaw is usually just a hub for LOT, meaning they have great connections to other European cities. So if you're planning to explore more of Europe after Warsaw, you might want to look into their connecting flights. Just make sure you give yourself enough time for the connection. I usually recommend at least 2 hours at Warsaw Airport if you're connecting to another flight. And here's a pro tip from someone who's done this journey way too many times. Always keep a change of clothes and basic toiletries in your carry-on. Trust me on this one, sometimes bags can get delayed with international flights, and having fresh clothes when you arrive can make such a difference. I always pack a light outfit, some basic makeup, and toiletries in my carry-on just in case. One thing I really appreciated was how they handled the landing process. Having flown into Warsaw so many times, I can tell you that the approach into Chopin Airport can sometimes get delays due to weather. But the crew kept everyone well informed. They also gave clear instructions about immigration and connecting flights, which I know can be super helpful if you're not familiar with the airport. From years of experience flying this route, I can honestly say that LOT's premium economy is a really good middle ground. It's definitely more comfortable than economy, but without the high price of business class. If you're doing the full 12-hour journey between LA and Warsaw, those extra comforts really make a difference. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Especially for this specific route that I know so well. It's worth the extra money, particularly if you're not used to such long flights or if you need to hit the ground running when you arrive. After trying pretty much every class on this route over the years, I think premium economy hits that sweet spot between comfort and value. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more travel content. I've got some exciting trips planned, and I'll be comparing different airlines on this route too. Drop a comment below if you have any questions about flying between LA and Warsaw. You know I'm always happy to help. See you in my next video.